iPad mini 6, release date, price, specs, Apple event and rumors. Hi guys. My name is Chloe. Welcome to my channel. On this channel I give updates on latest leaks, rumors, release dates, and price of new gadgets from all the giant tech companies around the world. Kindly subscribe to my channel if you are new. Comment and like this video. The iPad mini 6 release date, price. So when could I see the 6th generation small form iPad? I've no idea, but it probably won't be for a while. If the thing was ready to go, Apple would have announced it at the event. Perhaps it'll come out alongside the iPhone 13 in September, joining the new entry-level iPad in its usual slot. iPad mini devices are the smallest of all Apple's tablets, with screen sizes below even the entry-level iPads. They're designed for people who don't need a huge phone that's nearly as large, like the iPhone 12 Pro Max. The last entry in the line was the iPad mini, 2019, so a newer version of the tablet is overdue. Signs pointed to the iPad mini 6 getting shown off there, as well as an iPad mini Pro that turned out to be incorrect. That said, the slate looks likely to still land this year, with a respected analyst of Apple devices claiming that it will land in the second half of 2021, possibly in the fall, September 22nd to December 21st. A second report backed up this claim. We've also seen model numbers for unannounced iPads listed by the Eurasian Economic Commission (EC). While the iPad mini 6 isn't mentioned by name, it's possible that it's among them, and these sorts of listings usually appear quite close to launch, so maybe we won't be waiting long. Regarding price tag, not much has been leaked so far, though one report states the iPad mini 6 won't be as affordable as the 2020 entry-level iPad, thanks to its specs. On the other hand, another source claims that the Mini 6 will be consistent with its predecessor in terms of price. The iPad mini 5 cost between $399 or £399 or $599 and $679 or £669 or $1,019 for its various connectivity and storage space variants, and going by the supposed spec increases of this new tablet, we'd expect the iPad mini 6 could go for a touch more, though it's totally possible it'll launch at the same price. iPad mini 6 news and leaks. There are several reports so far which give us information on the iPad mini 6. I've mentioned them above, but we'll unpack everything they tell us about the tablet here. One leak points to the iPad mini 6 having a Lightning port, unlike some of Apple's other tablets, like the newest iPad Pro, which switched to USB-C, as well as an A13 Bionic chipset, also seen in the iPhone 11, and an 8.5-inch screen. For context, the 2019 iPad mini has a 7.9-inch screen, so that would be a fairly substantial size increase. The second leak backs up this size assertion, but doesn't give us any more information beyond that and a vague release date. We've also seen leaked dummy units of the iPad mini 6 which show very few design changes from the 2019 model, though perhaps the bezels are smaller. You can see the images above, where the new mini iPad is shown alongside dummy models of the two anticipated iPad Pro 2021 devices. Interestingly, I've also now heard talk of an iPad mini Pro. This would apparently have an 8.7-inch screen, and be wider but shorter than the iPad mini 2019. The source claims it will launch in the second half of 2021, but we're not convinced it exists, and if it does, it's probably a different slate to the iPad mini 6. A separate leaker suggests the iPad mini Pro, or iPad Pro mini, they refer to it as both, could come in the second half of 2021. Apparently, it'll have an iPad Pro-like design, with slim bezels, and will also be compatible with 5G networks. The idea of an iPad mini with thin bezels and no home button has been backed up by a separate report, making the aforementioned dummy units seem incorrect. iPad mini 6, what I want to see. Here are all the key features and specs we want to see in the iPad mini 6, inspired by our experiences with its predecessor, as well as changes in the tablet market, the slate's competitors, and Apple's other iPads. 1. A lower price. Apple's iPad lineup is confusing given the entry-level iPads and iPad minis largely hit the same price point, with the minis often just a touch pricier. However, the iPad mini can be a strange device in that it's smaller than all its Apple tablet brethren, but also more powerful and pricey, so it's not clearly better or worse, which can lead people to being confused as to which they should buy. If the iPad mini 6 were to be smaller than the other tablets, but just as powerful, and more affordable, the distinction between the slates would be clearer, and it would be way easier for people to work out which is best for them. This way, the iPad mini 6 would be a great purchase for people looking for a handy little iPad companion without it being too pricey. 2. A 3.5mm headphone jack. So far all iPad mini models have had 3.5mm headphone jacks, but that's far from an assured thing given Apple's habit of cutting the port from its devices. I'd like to see the iPad mini 6 retain the headphone jack though, as they're really useful for people who like their wired headphones as well as many who like to plug their tablets into physical speakers when home or about. As well as audio output, 3.5mm jacks can also be used for audio input, and people who use their iPads to record music or voice notes might like the option of using such a wired device without taking up the main connector slot too. 3. Reduced bezels. Physical button, as it has tended to do on its affordable products including the basic iPads and iPhone SE 2020, but beyond this large bezels are unnecessary. 4. Apple Pencil 2 support. The iPad mini 5 is compatible with the first Apple Pencil, but that's quite a divisive stylus given its limited range of functions and the irritating way of charging it. You have to physically plug it into the tablet such that it sticks out like a flag post. We'd like to see the iPad mini 5, and indeed all Apple's tablets, move towards using the Apple Pencil 2 instead, which is much more useful and charges by clipping it magnetically to the slate. This seems unlikely, given the Apple Pencil 2 is reserved for the high-end iPad Pros right now, but this is a wish list, not a predictions list. 5. No LiDAR scanner. The new iPad Pros in 2020 have LiDAR scanner, and it's rumored the iPhone 12 will too. This is used for AR, which Apple has been making a big push towards in the last few years, but AR's not exactly for everyone. We'd like to see the iPad mini 6 ship with no LiDAR scanner. Not everyone wants or cares about AR, and many might feel annoyed if Apple tries to push it on us all. If there was no LiDAR scanner on the new iPad mini, the price could well be a little lower, and most buyers will likely prefer a low price over a potentially useless scanner. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in my next video.